Take two. All right. What it is, guys? Welcome back. It's your boy here, the Dragon, and I am back on vacation. So I'm recording for you guys while I'm relaxing and getting my life together. Got my boy here. Say hello to the people, Vincent. We are here today to talk about a battle royale that y'all might be familiar with. We are here to talk about Apex Legends. Now,
third party edition.
Wow. So what we are doing today, we have 20 legends in this game from what, February of what, 2018?
Yeah.
To now. We have had 20 legends introduced in this game, and what we are doing here today is we are ranking all 20 legends. Now, we are ranking them based on two criteria. We're talking about their abilities, that being their passive, their tactical, and their ultimate abilities, and their general usefulness in a team situation. So with that in mind, we're going to dive in. We're going to rank from 20 to 1, 20 being the weakest, 1 being the strongest. And we already pre-ranked them so that these videos can be a little bit more smoother. It's a lot. We tried this before and it was just a bunch of rambling, and it was a mess. So we learned our lessons. All right. So starting out at number 20, we have the latest legend, actually, if you can believe that. We're starting off with Mad Maggie herself. Now, the reason why we decided to put Maggie at 20 is because if you look at her abilities, she has her passive is what? The speed boost with the shotguns, right?
Yeah.
You got her.
She got the what do they call it? It's that flaming. No, the riot drill.
That's her tactical.
Riot drill.
And her passive is yeah. So she got the drill, which may do damage, it might not. And then her ultimate, for me at least, the determining factor was really like it being very situational, having to knowing how to. There's no way to really control it. Like once you release it, it kind of just goes where it goes. Yeah, you get some kind of a speed boost from it, but I don't think that is strong enough to be anywhere other than the number 20 spot. I don't think that at this juncture Maggie is a character that is strong enough to. That's what I'm looking for. I don't think her abilities right now are very team oriented. Which isn't bad per se, but I think that compared to the other legends that we have in the game, I think that she's definitely the weakest of the ones we have. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, kind of hit everything. My opinion is one thing I feel like she is actually somewhat useful is getting the speed boost for certain legends that don't have no type of mobility. I'm a Lifeline main. So having that speed boost kind of helps me kind of catch up a little bit. I might still get clapped, but I can still run a little bit faster in situations. So, yeah.
All right. I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
At 19, we got Mirage. And I love Mirage. Mirage is one of the characters that I main. But I'll let Cam tell you why we put Mirage at number 19.
So we put Mirage in 19 mostly because of Ultimate. I feel like if you're a really good Mirage, you know how to use his decoys and use his ultimate. Then I feel like it can confuse people. But my thing with him is if you're in a wide open situation and he ults, that you could easily just track where he's going. Mm-hmm. And then also his decoys just kind of just run all over the place. He'll run to a wall, you'd be okay, that's automatically a decoy. But if it's a really good Mirage and you're chasing him and he ults in front of your face, he kind of does a little circle around, then yeah, that'll confuse a lot of people. But yeah, I'll let you just tell your piece.
He pretty much hit it on the head. Mirage's abilities, while buffed, are not Mirage has always been kind of one of those characters that's kind of similar to Octane in a sense, where his abilities really only kind of preserve him. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily I would say the only team usefulness that you can get out of Mirage is the Inviso heal or res.
Yeah.
And even sometimes that doesn't always work, So, I say his abilities aren't as strong, and in terms of team usefulness, I don't think that he's as strong either. And so that's really the reason why we're putting him at 19.
Also, like if you think about it too, if he downs like one of your teammates, he goes for a res. Like the teammate obviously can see where he's resing. They're gonna just rapidly like spam the ping button, so you can just like find him that quick.
Yeah. But yeah. Next on our list is Ash, the interesting murder bot with split personality disorder. Ash, we put at 18 because, again, her abilities and her team usefulness are just lower compared to some of the other legends. Her tactical is her snare, which you really gotta like know how to aim that shit. And with how well people can move, it's really hard to like really hit that. And the range on it is pretty small. Excuse me. And her ultimate, it's pretty much like a one-way ticket. The biggest thing for me and Cam, I think, was really the lack of range that her ultimate has. It would be great if like it has some like almost like unlimited range where you can really position yourself behind somebody, because it's a one-way ticket. Like you go there, like, and for the most part, you're gonna put yourself in front of a team and you're probably gonna get shot.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard for you to actually angle it and put yourself behind the opposition. So if it had a little bit more range, I would probably put her a little bit higher. But yeah, I think that her abilities right now just really lack range. I don't think she's like a bad character by any means, but I do think that she could use some work. And I think that if they buffed her a little bit, she could probably provide a lot more utility in terms of team play. But I do think that her abilities right now are pretty weak in a sense. So I wouldn't put her high.
But if all that stuff was more balanced, I'll put her high. Only because her passive, she could find like where enemies' locations are, and I think that's honestly pretty cool. At the same time, it's kind of OP. But yeah, like just the limited range. That was like the main issue why we placed her so low.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk to the people about Seer, my boy. Seer. It's on number 16.
Seer.
On number 17.
Another guy we feel as if he doesn't have like he has limited range. Like I've played Seer a few times where it's like I want to use his ability, but it's like I only can throw it so far, and then it's like I throw it, then I'm not catching nobody.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, people can see and hear that Seer is coming too, because it's just a big old orange orb.
Yeah.
So he kind of like give away his spot like that. But
in a game like Apex, it's really hard to get the drop on people. It's really hard to get close to the point where you can throw a ult like his and really have it be like smack in the middle, to where you really have like that information that you need to really win a fight, or multiple fights. It's easier in like arenas because it's like smaller maps, and you kind of already know what you're looking for. But in like Battle Royale, like it's really like you gotta really like be there in the thick of it to like throw his ult, and like have it like give you that information that you need to win a fight.
Like in a third party situation, like if you get close enough and they don't see you or hear you coming, I feel like it's really good then.
Yeah, definitely agree. But I think the limited range on it really makes it harder to place him higher. And I think that similar to like Ash, if he kind of got like just some I feel like slight buffs, like nothing like too crazy or OP, but just like slight buffs would definitely make him a little bit more competitive, and I think it will make him a little bit more useful in terms of like if I'm looking for a recon character, like Seer's gonna be one of the few. He's gonna be one of the last recon characters I'm using. Like, because I mean I already have a character like Bloodhound that can give me all that in one with like a fraction of the effort, So definitely wouldn't be my first pick for a recon character. Our next person is Fuse at number 16. Now, you probably recall a video I did on Fuse. I was excited for Fuse. I was, get to blow shit up. I was, I was thrilled, and then it was a letdown. It was bad. They buffed him, which is good. Like it's good that they buffed him, but still not to a point where he's like, where he's clinching, like a top spot on this list. Not the weakest, but not the best either. The saving grace for Fuse for us was his cluster grenades. The amount of damage that they can do and the amount of time that they last Like, I think that will always make Fuse like a threat to any team. And I think where he lacks is his ultimate. The Mother Load is not the best ultimate. A, because it's situational. It doesn't really work well indoors. It's great for like an outdoor map. So like if you're on a map like Storm Point or even World's Edge, might be great. If you're on an indoor map, you're dealing with like Olympus or maybe like even Kings Canyon, like though, and you have to think about it too. Like those flames, like they're not just hurting the other team. Like if I'm playing Fuse and like I drop my ultimate like around all of us, like I'm burning him, I'm burning myself. Like so you don't even get protection from it. So it's really, and it take like the time that it takes to aim it, like I think that his ultimate like should in a sense be simplified a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that would help him out. I think in terms of team usefulness, I don't think he's the worst by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think he's the best either. Yeah. And I think that's kind of where my head is.
Yeah, you hit everything. Like me personally, like another thing I feel like is kind of like where he's at, like in terms of, like the weak point is his ultimate. Like you can hear it. You can hear it. You can run away from it like real quick. If it was just like if I'm in the middle of a fight and he throws it down on me, then yeah, I'm screwed. Mm-hmm. Like I can't get out of it unless I just want to go ahead and take the damage. Yeah. But it's just the fact that you can hear it coming. It comes down pretty slow. At least for me, it does. And yeah, I think that's like a disadvantage for him as well.
Yeah, I would agree. We got Crypto at 15.
Crypto. So Crypto is useful in a lot of ways, but then I also feel like there's ways that he kind of lacks. Like now with the new buff that he has, is cool, is good, but I don't like the fact that you kind of have to like double tap to get into the drone instead of just like tapping it one time and you could just do whatever. Yeah. But also he's at like a disadvantage too if you're playing against a lot of teams that they have a lot more mobility, and he's kind of like in the back, and people can see where the drone is coming from. They automatically gonna send the Crypto, because he can't do nothing. Cause he has to get out of his drone, and then he has to get his gun out. Like by the time I get the gun out, I'm dead. But he also can hurt your team in a way, because if you are trying to push a fight and you throw his EMP down, it also can stun your teammates. Yeah. So it kind of puts your teammates at a disadvantage, because now they can easily get killed because you stunned them. But
it's a similar thing with Maggie. Like when her wrecking ball like detonates, like it can have just as much of a devastating impact on you as it can like the opposition. But I think Cam hit a lot of nails on the head. I think for me the biggest like thing that makes Crypto weaker is the fact that you do have to double tap to, and I've played Crypto in like arenas and stuff, and like after this buff I'm like, why the hell like am I not able, like, because before it kind of just goes into it, but that double tap feature is kind of a hassle in a way, because like you're expecting to just kind of hit the ground running when you throw it out, but you gotta press it like it, and in a game like Apex, like that split second difference, it can really be the difference between like dying and clutching. Yeah. So
and he has to be in like in a very like safe spot to throw a drone. Like,
and by now people are trained to like really kind of look for it and kind of know, like, because when they see like where that drone is rising from, they're already thinking like, yeah, he's right there. And, like, just rush him at that point.
Yep.
So if you, and we should put a disclaimer saying like, if you know how to play these characters, like obviously you know how to like work with their weaknesses as well as their strengths, so this video kind of is more so just generally speaking, not really appealing to like newbie players or sweats, kind of just like generally speaking, like these are some things that we're just noticing as like casual players.
Yeah, so overall, as a character, as a legend, he's really very useful. Yeah, like he can pick up banners. Like I don't have to like physically walk over to a beacon and rest. Like I could just use my drone. Yeah. So there's
definitely some utility with Crypto for sure. But just I wouldn't say that he's one of the stronger characters in terms of the criteria that we're looking at. Next we got Loba. Loba at 14, and the biggest drawback I think for Loba is her like her tactical. She has her her jump drive, and she's able to reposition, get out of tough spots, all that. That's great. Not really the best thing for a team, but at least it preserves. If you got to get out of there, come back, grab hammers, whatever you got to do. That's great. I think what saves Loba is her ultimate. That boutique, especially in like in-game situations, like if somebody just got rezzed and people just don't have anything, like I feel like that boutique can really save a game for a team, if it's done right. A drawback to that is that people can hear and they can see when there's a Loba around. You don't necessarily know where she might be, but like when there's a Loba around, so that's like a potential drawback. I think that Loba definitely has a lot more utility from her boutique, just being able to, and the fact that you can just drop, you can have multiple ones out. You might hurt the reload or the cooldown on it is a lot faster. I want to say, but I think that's some of the stuff that really saves Loba, in terms of like just gameplay. I think that she just having that that support, and she's a support character. Having that support, I think, can really be a lifesaver in some tough spots, especially if you're constantly in fights, you're needing you don't always got time to loot boxes, so being able to have that character that can have this boutique for you, or you can kind of get the shit you need, I think that's very useful.
Yeah. Okay.
So, at where we at 13? Wait, crap, I lost count. Anyways.
Yeah.
We got a Pathfinder next. Yeah.
So you can take
2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, or 13. All right. So Pathfinder to me, as if I'm looking at like OG Apex, like Pathfinder was definitely like one of those characters that was played a lot. He had this unique feature where he can scan rings, like nobody else could do that. But with that, and that's a feature right now that's so watered down in the game. Like we got like fucking 4 or 5 characters that can read, that can scan rings, which to me is it's really excessive. I think that it really took away from the usefulness and the coolness of Pathfinder. But I think the reason why we placed him below even like a Caustic was the fact that his tactical, it's good for getting him out of tough spots, and you really got to know how to use his grapple to make it work. I've played Pathfinder, and I'm in no way, shape, or form am I not even a good Pathfinder, even an okay Pathfinder. But you really got to know how to use his his grapple to really maneuver.
Yeah.
That maneuverability piece really saves him. I think that his ultimate is really good for repositioning, gearing up for that final attack, getting high ground, kind of whatever you want to do. But I do think that there are legends that we have now and again that can do that a little bit better. You still got your Wraiths, you got your Valkyries, you got I think there are other legends that can really kind of gear you up for those pushes better than what Pathfinder can currently do.
Yeah.
I think at one point in time he was definitely like one of those strong meta characters, but I don't think that he is anymore. Based on, and I don't think his abilities are weak, but I don't think that they're necessarily strong enough to to pierce the top 10.
Yeah. I think another thing that kind of saves Pathfinder a little bit is, I think in previous seasons they literally nerfed the heck out of him, and like his grapple, his cooldown was like really really long, and then having him be able to scan beacons and then getting cooldowns either for like a short grapple or a long grapple, that kind of saved him a little bit, because he just needed that grapple.
People didn't realize how reliant players were on that grapple until they nerfed the hell out of it.
Yep.
And then you really kind of you realize like, damn, like without that grapple, like who the hell is Pathfinder? And it's like an integral piece of him as a character. And I think without that, he's kind of dead in the water.
Yep.
Did we forget Rampart? I think we did. Where the hell is Rampart? She's supposed to be on here somewhere. I think we fucked up, Cam. I forgot Rampart.
All right. Well.
Yeah. All right. before we move on to the next one, I think Rampart was supposed to be before Ash, but what was I say? This count seems off. Okay, well I forgot Rampart. Yeah, she sucks. Anyways, we gonna move past that. I'll talk about Rampart again, but like Rampart, like for similar reason, like she wasn't high up on the list. I believe that she was I think she was in between Ash and Mirage, but she wasn't like really like similar reasons. Like you can like as quickly as you can put her like cover up, it can easily get shot down. Yep. And I would say like even though Sheila like her ultimate is like a real like I think one of the biggest advantages it gave her was being able to carry it, but at the same time like the wind up reminds me of like the Havoc or the Devotion without a turbocharger. Mm-hmm. Like I can literally get like I have a whole R301 clip emptied into me before I can even start shooting. So if you don't like pre-shoot or pre-fire like with like Sheila, like you're pretty much like screwed in like an up close battle. Like as strong as like the gun is, like you gotta like really know how to use it to make it work. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really just the fact that like as you can really shoot her shit out before like before it can actually make a difference and in turn. But I do think that if you can play her right and fortify an area, you can like really like have like protect your team in a sense, which is good. But I don't know how I forgot her on the list, but I did. So we ain't gonna waste time on it.
Just know that she's at the bottom.
Yeah, she wasn't that high up. So I think our number 11 is was Caustic, and so how we did this and we kind of just we decided like who are like the top 10 people. And we put them aside, and we just really focused on the remaining 10, and we kind of ranked them like that way. Mm-hmm. And so I think and I'll let Cam kind of explain his piece, but Caustic for me, like Caustic being that defensive character, like I think that he comes clutch in a lot of situations. Yes, you can shoot his gas traps out, but if those gas traps get going, if that Nox Cloud gets going, like the other team, regardless of what, like they're going to be at a disadvantage. It is very hard to contend against a Caustic, especially in closed spaces. I think that he gives he gives his team a lot of utility, just being able to fortify areas, like really gear up for that end game. And it's really hard to contend against that gas at times, especially now that they've kind of rebuffed it, or kind of just put it back to where it was. It's really hard to like. You really got to catch a Caustic slipping. Because like I said, once those traps go off like that, like, it's really hard, and I think they last, a decent amount of time too. Yeah. I think that he's like in terms of like that bottom 10, I think that it was pretty easy to put him at the top of that bottom 10, just because like I think you get a lot more utility out of him. He has that fortified boost, so he doesn't go down as quick. He's a little bit tankier. Yeah. And I just think that you get some general usefulness out of his Nox Cloud. You get some general usefulness out of his gas traps. And it's just, like it's really hard to contend with Caustic, and even in open areas it can be difficult. You throw that Nox Cloud, and I know from personal experience, you throw that Nox Cloud down, you're definitely like already at an advantage. Not even like and the Octanes of the world can't necessarily even get out of that before damage is done. Mm-hmm. So.
You hear everything. The only thing I kind of just want to touch on is the fact that even though you can kind of destroy his gas traps, like the gas still kind of lingers and it still does some damage. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's the only downside to people that's trying to take out the gas traps. But me personally, like I tried to shoot gas traps out many times, and it really took like maybe a whole clip to take the gas trap out. So it's not as easy as people think it is. Yeah. But that's all I want to say.
Yeah, like I said, any legend that has an ability where like being stunned in Apex is one of the worst things ever. Because like I said earlier, that split second difference is always a difference between life and death in this game. Yeah. And even being stunned by that gas for like a second, like and the fact that he can see in it perfectly, unlike Bangalore Smoke, like having like the fact that he has like perfect vision. In the gas, like it just makes up for it. You can literally destroy a team alone with a Caustic if you play it right. Yep. So it's pretty easy to put Caustic at the top of that bottom 10, but definitely not top 10 by any means. Especially with all the nerfs that they did to him. I think Caustic still needs a little bit of love to reach that competitive level again. But I do think that he's one of the strongest, still one of the strongest characters in the game, just not nearly as strong as the rest of the legends that we'll end up discussing in this video.
Yep.
Now, we're going to move on to Revenant. Revenant's at number 10. And honestly, like when we got to like these last 10, it was hard but easy at the same time to kind of place a lot of these people. And I think Revenant took the number 10 spot over the remaining legends because similar situations. His compared to like so with Watson, like with her pylon and everything, I didn't know that it can actually block silences. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we put him like beneath even Watson. Because that's a big thing. Like if he can't, one of his biggest things is being able to silence and do it effectively to a point where you can actually, get the advantage on the other team. I think one of his redeeming qualities is his death totem. Those Octane Revenant pushes are one of the most lethal things in the game, I would say, in this current meta. And I think that's like his biggest redeeming quality. The fact that he can sneak up on you. Which used to be a big deal before we had these fucking audio glitches. Now anybody can sneak up on you, so pretty much all the legends are Revenant. But I think that's one of the biggest things for him is that that silence piece. You can get some pretty good team utility out of his death totem if used properly, of course. And
he can scale. He can scale like big, tall buildings now. And you won't even hear him coming. Which is crazy. Yeah,
Revenant's a scary guy if you know how to play him properly.
Yeah. I also forgot to mention because you said Watson. The fact that Watson, you can just give her ultimate, so her ultimate is already charged. Yeah. Like that's another positive for her.
Which leads us to number 9, Watson.
Yeah.
And we kind of discussed her a little bit here. But one of the main reasons why she ranked a little bit above Revenant was her pylon. They extended it with her buff, so it lasts a lot longer now, and it is virtually impossible to, even if we're in an enclosed space like a building or something, thermites don't work, grenades don't work, arc stars don't work, ultimates don't work. Does Bangalore smoke even work? It cancels out caustics, knocks cloud. Like so, if you're in a tight characters like Watson are so perfect for the end game and so perfect for fortifying. And I think that gives her like a major advantage over like a lot of the legends we've discussed already. Her fences, while her fence and I think another cool thing about her fences aren't a detriment to the team. So like if one of us passes it, we don't take any damage. I would say it's harder I think these days to actually get somebody to cross a Watson fence. People are pretty hesitant to do that unless they're like really ballsy. So it's a really good deterrent, I think, as well, and it makes teams rethink how they push you. And I think that's a benefit that I didn't really think about until now. So I think it really makes people rethink how they decide to push you or approach you, especially if she has her pylon out.
I think the only disadvantage when it comes to Watson is not only like how you place your fences. Well, it kind of does play a part. Yeah. It's just more like angles. Like everybody try to find that angle where they can shoot the fence out.
And if you know how to play it, you know how to hide. Make it not necessarily hide, but you know how to make it really damn difficult. Yeah. Because if you make it difficult for them to shoot those things out. So, Watson. I'll say Watson's a pretty solid character. She used to be really weak. And with her buff, I think that it's made her a lot more competitive. But I think that where she is right now is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Leads us to Octane.
Yeah.
It's our what number 8, number 7. That's 7.
It's 7.
Yeah, it's 7 because Watson was 8. Watson was 9, so this is number 8. Never mind. I can't count today.
Okay.
Let's talk about Octane.
So, you want to start this?
I'll let you start that one.
All right, we kind of place Octane in said 8. God, they got me messing up.
Yeah.
8.
Yep. Yeah, he's at 8.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
So we put Octane at 8, and I play a decent amount of Octane in arenas. And Octane used to suck, like really badly. And if we had did this video, like I want to say maybe even 2 or 3 seasons ago, like Octane would have been like probably like the least. He would have been at the bottom of the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
When they buffed him, they made his they made his stem a little bit better. They gave you the double jump on the on the jump pad. I would say the biggest thing about Octane that truly redeems him and puts him so high up on this list is the fact that you can get into the action with an Octane so quickly, and I think that being able to get into position, reposition, and then just being able to just really push when you need to push, I think that really makes him like a solid character, especially in the current meta.
Octane Revenant combo.
Like I said, that Octane Revenant combination is one of those things that's just like really like dangerous. And I think, like I said, Octane's biggest thing is his ability to just set the team up to really like push the hell out of a fight, and even like pull back, when the third party or fourth party is coming. It doesn't always work out that way, but I think that the potential that he has and kind of what we've seen, I think that's his biggest saving quality. It's just not only being able to preserve himself with his stem shot, but also being able to get the team in position for a solid push or get the team out of some sticky situations as well if need be.
Even though the stem could get him killed.
Yeah, big time.
If he just keeps spamming the stem button, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't take long to get through his shields, and then one shot he's dead.
The only thing that sucks most of the time Octanes are sending. So if you get an Octane, I think Cam said this earlier. If you get an Octane that's a team player, then I think you're in good hands. For the most part, Octanes play like they're fucking solos, and then usually they send it, and it kind of just screws the team over. So it really depends on which version of Octane you get. You get the team player, or you get the sender, and I think that'll really determine the success or the failure that you have like with that character. So Bangalore's next, and Bangalore's my first main. I still play Bangalore. Still love Bangalore. And so I'll let Cam give his thoughts, and I won't say too much about Bangalore. But Bangalore for me, the biggest thing I still believe that Bangalore needs not a rework, but I think that she needs some love. Her ultimate is great. I think it sucks because it kind of just it gives people plenty of time to like get out of there before it actually goes off. Like compared to like Gibraltar's, that it's just sudden. You don't get time to prepare. Bangalore is like it drops and then like you get like 30 seconds, before you have to actually get out of there. So you get time to like move, and I think that's like a big detriment to her. Her smoke blinds the hell out of you and the opposition. So like I would say like if her teammates had the ability to kind of see through that, and even as Bangalore, like you can't really see through it. So you're kind of hurting yourself too. And so I would say that sucks. That being said, I still think that Bangalore is probably one of the strongest offensive characters in the game. If you really know how to play her, you know how to play her smoke, you know how to play around her ultimate. I don't think that we get there's probably maybe one or two other offensive characters that I'll put above Bangalore, but I still think that she's pretty well rounded. To some degree, I think that she definitely needs a buffer too. I think that her abilities can use a little bit of love. But I still think that she deserves to be, at least in the top 10.
Yeah, you hit everything on the nose. I just wish that her smoke just doesn't last long. Because it's like as soon as you just throw it down, like you mentioned, it blinds the enemies and it blinds you and the team. I feel like it'll work better if you have any gun that runs a digital threat.
And even with the digital threat too, like you can't unless I'm close to you, like you still can't see the person. Like if they're like running around, unless like they're like right like within like a radius of you, like you still don't see them even with a digital threat, which I think is still kind of bad. So like her smoke definitely lingers a lot longer than it used to. It's like it got thicker. Pause. So I think that I think Bangalore just needs I think she needs a little bit of love ability wise, but I still think that she is I think for a team. I think that she's still a pretty solid pick for a team.
Yeah. I'd just say like her ultimate, like I think her ultimate is more like a defensive tactic, like just to get her away from a fight. I don't think it's not supposed to be like an offensive move.
I would agree. And I think initially, they kind of intended for it to be more offensive, but it's definitely teams like stopping their tracks. They're not gonna push a fight if they see because it's more of a warning than it is like. I think it should be more sudden. It should have that kind of impact. that Gibraltar's has. But then again, like they're also pretty much the same thing. Just I think that she could benefit from like a totally different ult. So hopefully the devs decide to give Bangalore some love, but I guess we'll see. Next up, we have the bane of my existence, the legend that I absolutely hate the most in this game. I hate Horizons. I hate all Horizons. Horizon is the single greatest headache for me in Apex. But that being said, if we had did this video, her season, or even like a couple seasons after her season, like she probably would have been like number one.
Yeah.
Horizon, when she dropped, she was super duper OP.
She was definitely S tier.
Like she was like she was without a doubt the strongest character in the game. Just being able to strafe in the air and just really like I can't tell you all how many times I died to Horizons like when her season dropped. Probably part of the reason why I hate her. But yeah, Horizon, like even still, like after they've kind of nerfed her a bit, she's still pretty strong, still a pretty solid pick. I don't think her ultimate's great because I think you can just shoot it out. And if you know how to play around it, I think you're ahead of the game a little bit. But for the most part, to a casual player, like they may not necessarily know how to defend against it, so you're gonna get some utility out of it. But yeah, I think that both her tactical and her ultimate, like they really do serve to help in a team situation, help you push a fight, help you get out of a fight, whatever you need. So as much as I don't like her, I still think that she serves a purpose, and that she has some solid. I still think that her solid and her tactical are pretty useful, in a general sense. So, I think that she deserves the spot of number 6.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, everything.
So I'll let you discuss this next one. It's your main. Number 5, we got Lifeline.
All right, me as a Lifeline main, we placed her at 5 over the rest. Just simply, for me, like trying to push certain situations is very difficult for a Lifeline, especially if you're playing with a bunch of mobility type of teammates. It's like they're gone, and then you're just like, I'll be there in like 5 hours, and it's like when people see a Lifeline, they automatically go take the Lifeline out because they're gonna be like, you're not gonna be over here, you're gonna keep resing over and over again, which I mean it's good, but me personally, I think Lifeline needs her shield just so they can have some type of cover, like when they get rest, because it's like she don't have a cover. It's like people automatically gonna thirst to kill, but my main thing is just trying to get to fights. Like it's very difficult for a Lifeline.
I think Lifeline deserves a spot at number 5 because Lifeline she's the only combat medic in the game. I think this game definitely could benefit from like another medic. But that being said, like Lifeline's ability to res is like her biggest quality, and the fact that you can do it, multiple times. Like you don't have to worry about kneel. Like you can literally just throw your drone out, res your teammate, and then kind of just get back into the fight. I've seen people, this guy included, play Lifeline aggressively and play it well, and still be able to I feel like as a Lifeline, if you don't really, play that support role and you focus too much on the aggro, like it's a detriment to your team. But Lifeline is kind of in the name, like she's literally like the lifeline of the team. You need a Lifeline, you need that support, being able to get res and all that stuff. Like, and then her care package, you're able to get some good stuff out of it.
Care package is actually really, really useful in certain situations as well. Being able to get like better loot just based on what you have like currently. If I got 3 blues, you're gonna get a purple. Yeah. Like having that ability is nice. And then just Lifeline 1-on-1. Give the Lifeline the backpack. Do not take the backpack for yourself. Give the Lifeline the backpack. Give her the gold knockdown. Like you gotta give your combat medic something. Yeah. Like especially if you go down in the storm or you go down to a team in the final ring, like just that small chance of just getting up and having half your health back can win the fight easily.
Yeah. Agreed. We got
it's also like too. No, my bad.
No,
Also, it's like placement too. Because I always get yelled at for like how I res people and where I place the drone. So like I think placing stuff behind cover is very key if you play a lifeline. Yeah. But just wanted to add that.
Yeah, definitely deserving of the top 5 for sure. We got Gibraltar next, and I think that the biggest thing for Gibraltar, a goddamn dome shield. It's not as strong as his gun shield isn't as strong as it used to be, but it's still strong enough to like keep him from, like he has a gun shield, he has that fortification, and he's just like that tanky piece just makes it really hard to down a Gibraltar. Combo that with like his dome shield if you know how to place it right, and like I said, his ultimate is what Bangalore should be. It is just literal sudden impact. Very little time to prepare for it. Very little time to get out of harm's way. Like it's just sudden. I think having a Gibraltar team is great, especially when it knows how to use his abilities. Knowing when to I've had Gibraltars on our team that literally threw down their dome like as we're like shooting at the other team, literally just blocking your shots. I've also had them do it to like get us out of harm's way. If you know, like I said, if you know how to play your character, you know how to play Gibraltar, you know how to play his abilities. Like Gibraltar's like a solid asset to any team. I think he's one of one of the best legends to have in a team setting, based on kind of his abilities and what he can do. And I don't think that there's anything else I can really say. Don't like the guy. Fucking hate dealing with Gibraltars. Yeah. But like I said, given his abilities and I think that based on criteria we kind of have in place, like he's definitely like a solid legend for sure.
Yeah, if you always have a Gibraltar that knows how to play his dome shield pretty good, he's actually pretty hard to beat one-on-one, especially when he has a Mastiff.
Yeah.
But I feel like he also can give away your position. Like if you just look in the right direction, you just see like a big old bright orange like gun shield, you just know that there's a team there. Like he kind of just gives away his position. Yeah. But defensive wise, like I feel like his dome shield is like a very good like defense, especially if they're trying to run away from another team that's shooting at them, because he throws his dome shield and people will start shooting the dome shield every time. Like I think that's like kind of like a smart play on his part as a legend.
And the literal only counter to him is Watson, and again that's just very situational because not a lot of people even run Watson. So like Gibraltar's just a solid pick. Yeah. At number 3 we put Valkyrie, and honestly like when we were trying to figure out how to place Valkyrie and Wraith, it's just sitting around and discussing, like we realized that they're very similar. They both have the ability to to get out of tight situations. Valk has her jets, and Wraith has her her phasing. Their ultimates are similar as well. Wraith has her her rift portal, and then Valkyrie has like her her ability to just fly out, which is great. And so like they were both pretty similar and like as when you think about it. And so I think the biggest determining factor, and I think Cam pointed this out when we were talking about it. What was it? I can't remember what was it.
She's basically like vulnerable in the air.
That's what it was. If I can't say how many times that I've just emptied clips into airborne Valkyries, as where when Wraith phases, like you're not catching that Wraith. Like you may be able to follow her to where she went, but you virtually have no offense against her while she's phasing. As where Valkyrie, like she can get up in the air, she can shoot her missiles out, but as she's coming down to the ground, like she is nothing but vulnerable. And I've downed plenty of Valkyries with that in mind, and so with those two being as similar as they were, we had to put Valkyrie 3 for that. Honestly, like for that reason, like the two, like I said, are very similar. But that reason alone, like, just makes her a little bit just at a disadvantage in a sense to like a character like Wraith. Valk is a great legend. Her ability to to move, her ability to reposition, her ability to help push, definitely deserving of the number 3 spot.
And she can scan.
Yep, she's a recon character, so she can scan beacons now. Yep. Like that they need to stop. Like we got enough recon. Like move on to other classes, but that's another video. But I think that definitely she's definitely a solid legend, based on those things, and it's just really like as she's floating down, like she is nothing. But like if they ever got rid of that or just kind of offset that, then I think that she'd definitely be like a solid contender for like maybe number one at some point. But that's her. I think that's her biggest detriment right now.
Yeah, I also think that her ability to fly out kind of needs to say just a little tweak, because sometimes like you'll be able to fly out and it got like that really weird like pause animation before she takes off. I think if they fix that, then I think she'd be like really really solid. Not that she isn't now.
Yeah, but definitely.
And her missiles can actually hurt her team as well, depending on where she aims it, because you can get stunned.
Yeah. But so her missiles are they can be a double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah.
So definitely a good call out. So of course, naturally number 2 is Wraith. And we kind of touched on all this stuff. Wraith's she's short, so she's harder to hit. And she actually used to be like if we talk like preseason 1 Wraith, like preseason 1 Wraith was like super duper OP.
Immediately phasing.
Like crazy how many Wraiths we had. Then they nerfed her a bit, made her a little bit more fair. And I would say even like with the nerfs that we saw, like she's still pretty damn strong. Like I said, when Wraith phases, like it takes a while for it to start, but like once she get like you may be able to follow her, but you're not you have no offense against her, while she's phasing. Another thing really is just like her portal. Yeah, it takes some time to kind of get going, but once it does start, good. Then you can just go ahead and you can go back and forth. You can bait teams in. You can capture enemy teammates or whatever. So I think that there's not a whole bunch we need to say about Wraith. We all know how strong she is.
We all know how sweaty she is.
So that it just kind of is what it is. Bloodhound to me was the easiest pick for number 1. From the beginning, I think that Bloodhound has been the most balanced character in this game. And I don't think that you get a stronger legend than Bloodhound. His ability to scan gives a ton of intel. He can scan beacons, let you know where the next ring is. His Beast of Hunt is great. The more people you down, the longer it lasts. I thought that was a great buff.
Harder to hit.
He's quicker. He's I personally think that Bloodhound is the most balanced character in this game, and I think that he has been the most balanced character in this game since it came out. There's nothing they need to do to Bloodhound. His abilities are great for himself and for the team. You are constantly feeding your team intel. You're constantly giving yourself intel, so your team knows what's going on around them. And
yeah,
not a whole bunch that I can really say. Like Bloodhound's great, and that's my main. So I'm a little bit biased.
Yeah. He's like really good in like all situations. He can push. He can play defense. He could be a support character. Mm-hmm. He's really good in end game. Yeah. Like he's really good in all those types of situations.
So, easily the most well-rounded character. It does not, to me, it does not. You don't get a better legend than Bloodhound. So
and scan is like 3 times the radius.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Scans pretty far.
Yeah, you can get you like I think Cam hit the nail on the head. You can use Bloodhound in any situation, and he'll be probably one of the most useful assets that you have on the team. So that is our ranking of the current legends of Apex. Hopefully you guys, learned a little bit if you don't really play Apex. If you disagree with our listings here, like these were based on, my observations and Cam. So, not to say that any of these are like, fact, but if you disagree, drop your thoughts down below on who you think, should be placed a certain way. If you think somebody should be lower or higher, like let us know. Let's talk about it. Always happy to kind of hear y'all's thoughts. We realized some of these might be some controversial decisions, but it wasn't hard to rank all this stuff, but that's just kind of what we came up with. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And just let me know what you might want to see next. But we're going to get out of here. I love you guys. I will see y'all real soon. Dragon out.